stand-up comedy. So I kind of my hero was Sam Kinison.
Oh,
Love him or hate him, he was
what a
prudy
guy.
and brash, but he was, he was an innovator for a lot of comics.
And
So
a good director, too.
yeah, and I just wanted to do something in honor of him, so that's basically was his thing. So I sort of took up the mantle on that.
Sweet.
Yeah, but
right.
Once again, I want to thank you for taking time. Big fan, going back
Hey.
to the beginning with you. So, like I said, we're gonna have some fun tonight. Feel free to share whatever you want. You can talk about anything. We're uncensored here, so you don't have to worry about anything. So,
Great.
yeah.
Well,
All
I'm
right.
watching the Yankees Tampa Bay Ray game.
Oh, okay. Are you a Yankee fan or a
No,
Ray
I'm
fan?
not. I got a lot of Yankee fans as friends, and I'm a Met fan. Been a Met fan for, I don't know, 50, 60 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was there in '86 when we had season tickets from '84 to '88, and '84 was a horrible year, so we got moved to really good seats. And 2 years later, they're in the World Series, and we're sitting in loge seats looking down the right field line in Game 6, and the ball goes through Buckner's legs. It was just the most euphoric moment in my life, I think. It was,
Oh, yeah,
it was
yeah.
incredible. You could feel the place shaking. The whole building, the whole Shea Stadium was incredible. Anyway.
Yeah, because, with Met fans, anytime it's few and far between where something good happens for that whole organization. So you got to relish the moment.
All right, I got an issue. I'm having connection problems. Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm surprised it came up.
Yeah, no, it's everything's is kosher here. We got full bars on you, so
good.
But yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned the Mets because we're having in a couple of weeks on Jay Horwitz.
Oh, what a great guy!
Yeah, he's got a new book out.
I know Jay when I was doing Life Goes On.
Yeah, do you know he's got a new book out?
Yeah, I hear it's quite wonderful.
Yeah, and I talked to him on the phone. He's such a sweetheart of a guy, so he's going to be fun to talk to.
He really is. The funny thing is, I was at a charity golf tournament just a few months back, and playing with Robin Ventura, and we went back to my room and had some wine and started talking about the Mets and all his memories there, and then he went off and told me this these unbelievable Jay Horowitz stories that are not in the book.
Right. That's the second one.
They pranked him pretty bad.
Oh, really?
On the road, yeah. Oh boy.
That's too funny.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Mike Piazza on the show. Yeah.
Say what?
I'm trying to get Mike Piazza on the show, but it's weird. Booking celebrities is easy, but when it comes to sports figures, it's not. It's like there really is no way to contact them unless you want them to speak for 100,000.
Right.
Yeah. But we're working on it. I wanted to get more sports onto the network, because but having you on is an icon. And I got to tell you, Bill,
thank you.
I go back to the beginning with Miami Vice, Scotty Wheeler. I wish you wouldn't have got jammed up because I would have liked to see you continue in that series. But, Well,
Michael was good enough to me that he put me in another series and a couple of movies after that. So.
You were well compensated then. Okay. But what's the funny part? You did Scotty Wheeler, and I am, because the 80s was my decade, Bill. I love it. I am the Miami Vice. I know everything about it. Like, I'm such a fan of that show because I just loved it. But it's funny because you were Scotty Wheeler, and then in the first episode of the second season, you were an FBI guy.
That's right. You picked that up with Charles Dutton.
Yes. He had hair back then.
Maybe he wanted to erase the stigma of me being a bad cop,
right,
sellout to his partner.
Yeah, that was Charles Dutton when he had hair.
That's right. Charles Dutton before he was Charles Dutton.
Yeah.
Maybe he just got out of the can. I don't know.
Very interesting. I did a lot of, I knew a lot from, watching you on TV and the movies, but I found it interesting that you started late. You came late to the party as far as acting. Now, Did you get into acting by desire, or was it just like happenstance?
Total accident. Not so much a total accident, but it was an epiphany that I had in college. I was always kind of a cut up, kind of fun around. I went to, I'd say, about 11 or 12 different schools growing up all around the country. So I was always trying to make friends, and feel the temperature of things going on. So, the first time I'd ever done anything was in 5th grade. They asked me to do, went in, I saw this thing for a talent show. I walked in and they said, "Oh, we're doing a talent show." I said, "Oh, what do I need to do? Can I do anything?" I was like in 4th grade or 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, can you do an Ed Sullivan imitation?" And I went, "Yeah, I can do that." Right.
Oh, that's too funny.
So I was cast as Ed Mulligan, the host of the John Ballantyne Elementary School talent show. And it was a lot of fun. It was the only time my dad saw me on stage. He died when I was 17, and he was 45 very suddenly. And then I didn't really start to mess around with anything on stage until I was in college at University of Bridgeport. But after my dad died, I took a couple of years off and did some angry teenage stuff. Like I was, I was a really good bowler and a pool player when I was a kid, and I was a Southern California junior match game champion, and I was on the Southern California All-Star team when I lived out in California before I came back to the East Coast. So I was kind of a phenom there because I had like a 190 average, and I'd come back to the East Coast and 10 pins were just starting out, So I made a lot of money and worked with a lot of guys late at night bowling for money, and I saw a lot of interesting cats 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I was 17, 18, 19. So after that, I decided to hustle my way across country with a friend of mine who had a car. I had some cash, and he had some cash, and he had a 59 Ford Fairlane with a 1045 record player that would play 1045s, and it was attached under the dashboard with springs.
Oh, wow.
And we had a whole box of 45s in the back seat, and we just grabbed 10 of them and throw them on. It was before cassettes or anything like that.
Yeah, right? Wow.
So that was pretty wild. So anyway, I come back to Connecticut, and I get a job for a couple of years, and then I decided I need to go to college. And after about 3 years, I guess I was around 24 at that time now. It took me 6 years to get out and work my way through college. So it was about 23, 24. And then somebody said, "Oh, you ought to go down and do Lenny Bruce. You ought to go down and read for Lenny." And I went, "Wow, they're doing Lenny here." So I went down there, and I because it was on Broadway at the time, and I went, "Wow, how do they get that?" And so I went down, and they handed me Of Mice and Men, and I'd never read Of Mice and Men in my life, and I had bad English. I went to 3 different high schools. I forgot about English. Right. So I read it. I go down to the end of this vacant hall, very quiet, empty, and as a side note, my minor was special education when I was at college. So I read the play. As many of you know the play. I don't think I have to tell many of you what the play is about, but Lenny is he's challenged. He's a challenged sharecropper who is moving from, they're nomads. It's just him and his pal George and Lenny walking around Northern California looking for some work on some farms. And So I read this and I was just astounded. It was the first time I'd ever wept at a piece of literature in my life. And I walked into the audition and I started to audition as Lenny in character. I was really into it. And they started laughing. And I said, wait a minute. I stopped and I said, what are you laughing at? He said, that's a beautiful human being. There's nothing to laugh at here. And I got really upset. They said, no, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing because we just found our Lenny.
Oh, wow.
And it was a guest director, and I was just blown away. And he took me under his wing and taught me some really great fundamentals about stage acting. And from there, I went to Morris Karnofsky as one of my teachers. He was a member of the group theater back in the 20s and 30s. And we did the show again at Al's Theater in Stamford, Connecticut. So now I've got the bug, right? Now I'm in shows at Stamford, Connecticut, and I'm doing this and that, and I graduate. And one of my fraternity brothers, who had graduated a year before me, goes to Smith College. And he tells me that, well, Smith College is accepting men for their graduate program. So he says, you should come. I said, I don't have the grades for Smith College. And he said, no, you can come down here and just audition. So I auditioned, and I got a full ride, 2-year master's program, plus a stipend of $2,000 a year. It was
I can't beat that at the time, right?
It was just, and I'm in an Ivy League school. I'm total culture shock, and I started learning from some of the best people. Gave me a total idea of theater and the theater world that I'd never known before, that I never knew before. Techniques, and I worked with Rosalind DeMille, Agnes DeMille's sister, who was an incredible ballerina and totally inspirational. And my mentor was Leonard Berkman, who was a famous dramaturge, and he took an incredible liking to me as I did to him. He had long silver hair and had always wore a peace sign around his neck. But this man was one of the smartest men, most read, incredible mind that I'd ever met.
Wow.
So, and then after that, I stayed in Northampton for probably about 2 or 3 more years. I'd started a theater company with some friends of mine there. And we were a big success in the Valley. And I loved what I was doing, playing a lot of softball and working as a bartender and doing the plays, having a ball. Now I'm in my 30s. I'm in my late 20s. So we did a play called The Elephant Man, but not the Elephant Man that you know of. This was our production of The Elephant Man before The Elephant Man was written.
Oh, wow.
We had found, one of our members had found this pulp novel about the Elephant Man and wrote our 2-act play. And it was wonderful, incredibly artistic, and with mirrors and stage, it was very, very, very progressive, as I would say. Mm-hmm. So we took this show to the Worcester Group down in Soho. They asked us to bring the show in to the Worcester Group, which is now the Performance Garage, where it used to be the Performance Garage, with Spalding Gray and Liz Lecomte and Richard Schechner, and then you got Willem Dafoe joined the company later on. But we put on our play there, and that was like, I don't know, 1982. So,
oh wow,
35, 36 then.
Yeah, let me ask you, Bill. Do you, and I always found it interesting that an actor who started out in the theater, because it's very difficult. I think it's a big challenge as opposed to doing movies and TV. And I feel it. Do you feel that? I personally think that it gives the the individual an advantage starting out in theater?
I believe so. I mean, I don't think there are any. I think there are very few big major stars who haven't been touched by theater in their lives, somewhere or another. They might have given up on it. They might have had to given up on it early to continue their career. But even Michael Douglas, I mean, you think of him just being a protege of his father. It's he's the one that bought One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and produced the Broadway play, and I think he was in it.
Oh, and, wow! I didn't know that. Yeah.
And then you think of guys like Rob Reiner. I mean, God, he's a wonderful actor, and Sidney Pollack. I mean, you know, it's just he knew a lot about the theater, and he was also a wonderful actor. But I can't, you know, Kevin Kline. You think of, geez, all of them. There aren't too many. Maybe I don't know. Michael Caine probably didn't do much theater.
That's surprising to me, considering that he's from the England.
Yeah, I'm not saying much. I'm saying nothing celebrated. You know.
Right.
You know, like
Bill, let me ask you: how did the role TV with the Scotty Wheeler? How did that come in? Did you audition, or did they seek you out, or?
I did read, I believe. I was doing a play at Long Wharf Theater in New Haven, Connecticut, with John Lithgow, Richard Dreyfuss, David Proval, Dominic Chianese. It was called Requiem for a Heavyweight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so I get this script, and then it was called Gold Coast. You know, it wasn't Miami Vice then.
That's right. That wasn't the original name. You're right.
Originally, it was Gold Coast. So I read it, and at that point, you know, it's like, you know, we were all theater people, and we didn't, you know, we threw up our nose at film and television. You know, we wanted to stay in the theater, and very rarely saw a good movie of the week script, you know, that wasn't filled with incredible cliches and bullshit. You know.
Yeah.
So this was a incredible departure from anything that had been on television that I remembered. I mean, it was down and dirty and sexy and hot, and this guy's a bad guy. No, he's a good guy. This, you know, it was colorful. The music was so hip, and I mean, Michael Mann, he was a genius for putting this together. Putting these geniuses together.
Definitely a one-of-a-kind series, never to be duplicated either.
I don't think so. I mean, Miguel Pinheiro was the bad guy in our episode, and he was, you know, was a Tony Award-winning playwright. As being a junkie, he was in school in the Big House, but he wrote an incredible play that's still performed to this day. Anyway. So yeah, I did read, and then I was kind of out of my element, you know.
Really, you felt
sitting outside his trailer playing his guitar, and I'm going, "What is this? What's going on? Come on," you know. And Bonnie Bedelia was my wife, short-lived wife.
Yes,
but. I really enjoyed working with these people. They were all wonderful. Sandra Santiago and Don and Philip, and you know, the whole lot of them. I mean, they were great, and we were young and we were having a good time.
Let me tell you something, Bill. With this whole pandemic going on, the stuff from the '80s is what's keeping me going. I'm watching. I'm the Miami Vice. Crime Story. Oh my God, I can go hours on that show. When that show came out, I couldn't wait to see it, and I used to VCR it because I didn't want to miss it. Because back then, if you didn't see it when it aired, you had to wait until they did the reruns. It wasn't like now you could just flip and catch it from back in the day. But I got to tell you, your character Sergeant Krychek was a badass. And Dennis Farina, what a sweetheart of an actor. That's one guy that I would have loved to have met because, and it was so well done. You know, they always, sometimes, you know, when they do stuff like that where it's like period piece, whatever you want to call it, they dropped the ball. But that was, to me, it looked flawless from a viewer's point of view.
Yeah. Well, you look at, you know, all those actors that they brought on the show, Paul Butler, Steve Ryan, from the theater, Dennis, he worked at Steppenwolf. I mean, they taught him a lot over at Steppenwolf. They loved him over there. And, you know, it's just, then you look at some of the people we've had on the show. I mean, my God, it was just amazing. Julia Roberts. And in one episode there where, who else? I'm drawing a blank on his name offhand, but he was the father who was abusive to her. And then Kevin Spacey was a guest star. And
the Andrew Dice Clay, Max Goldman.
Yeah, right.
Yes. I mean, I just love the
John
character.
Santucci.
Yeah,
Paulie.
Yeah, he was in a lot.
Who's this guy, Don Perignon?
I was just gonna say that he beat me to it. I loved, and I like. You know who else I really liked? I love Anthony Dennison. I thought his character of Ray Luca was great, and John Polito was a really good actor. I really enjoyed his stuff over the years as Phil Bartoli, and
John Polito. Oh. Well, we lost John.
Yeah.
And John's a dear friend, and I do miss him. And I was at his funeral, and we've known each other for a long time. And John and I really enjoyed each other's company. And he came to see. I did the Mammoth's American Buffalo here in Los Angeles, and David Mamet came to see it twice. And Johnny came to see it a couple times as well. And I'll tell you this little story. Second time Johnny came to see it, he brought me a little gift. And he was the understudy for McMillan in the original American Buffalo.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So he was there at the end of the run, and they were striking the set. And everybody, Ulu Grossbart said, the director, he said, okay, everybody can take 2 things off the set. That's it. It's junk, right? It's just filled with junk and just incredible shit, you know, all over the place. So, but he said, I get the pig iron. Ulu Grossbart said, I get the pig iron. It's a very essential part of the plot. So John always talked about Robert Duvall. You know, he was supposed to go crazy. He would go. Most of the time, he's going crazy, as you know, as his character. He's just manic. But this in the play, he would stop at this one wind-up little. What are they? It's a Peanuts character, Woodstock. The Woodstock.
Oh, okay, yeah, Snoopy.
Stop there at the Woodstock bird and look at it, like you didn't know if he was going to crush it, eat it, throw it away, what he was going to do with it, right? Mm-hmm. So he'd pick it up and then he'd turn it and he'd put it on and he'd watch it like this. That's what was in the box that Johnny gave me.
Oh wow, that's amazing. But when you have a series like Crime Story, Bill, do they have technical advisors on set? Because I think they did a lot of great stuff like that. And what was it like to be? I mean,
good questions.
Yeah, you guys look like you had a ball on that set, and I guess working with Dennis Farina and that whole crew must have been a ball.
When you're talking about the whole crew and technical advisors, we had the original cops from the original stories of the Major Crime Unit.
Oh, that was a real thing?
Oh, yeah.
Well, the only thing I did know was that Dennis Farina was a real cop in real life.
Dennis and the creator of the show, Chuck Adamson, wrote the pilot. And Chuck and Dennis were partners on the beat, not the beat, but they were on the force. They were major crime unit. They were in the car.
Oh wow!
So they would write this stuff while they're in the car. And Chuck, he would do it. He was great. He's an unbelievable guy. He's dead now, unfortunately. But man, these guys are passing away. What's going on? Chuck and Dennis would write scripts and run through lines and things like that in their patrol car, in their ND car. So
wow.
The guys that we were with. We had Sam Cerrone, Detective Sam Cerrone. We had Detective Paul Butler's character. Can't think of his name right now.
Walter Clemens.
Yeah, Clemens. He had the cigar. Still had the cigar. Still had the holes in his tie and his shirt. Everything. They would sit in the trailer and tell us what to do. They loved it. They just loved it. They would say, how to hold a gun or whatever. We would walk into this place, hey, get the fuck out of here. You push the guy in the face, you go this, your hair, boom, give this guy an elbow.
Right.
It was, and when Dennis took John in the alley and beat him up with the trash cans, John was petrified. He was petrified.
That's
because
funny.
in real life, John was their stoolie. In real life.
Yes.
And John was a jewel thief in real life. And if you don't know it, Thief was based on John Santucci's career as a jewel thief.
I never knew that. Little Paulie?
And Little Paulie invented that burning bar that he uses in the film.
Oh, with David Caruso, right? Johnny O'Donnell.
So that was Santucci's doing, but there were people that they lost objects they left in their trailer, somehow would just disappear. And where's John? I don't know. I think he left.
That's amazing. You know what? With the Crime Story in Miami Vice, you know why they worked? Because nowadays you can't really do it now because the publishing, but they used original music. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what made it work even more. I added to, especially the theme song, Del Shannon Runaway. That was it.
They remixed that song. He sang other parts of that to change because I'm trying to think of the Paul Cooper. Paul Cooper was the musical artistic director. And he's the one that, created a lot of this music and thought of this theme song and worked with Del Shannon, who had stopped touring, but worked with Al Cooper on a remix of that song just for the show. It was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. When you look at your resume, you have Crime Story, Miami Vice, The Practice, Millennium, Life Goes On. It's such recognizable, iconic series. Movies like Independence Day, and one of your newer things. And because of everybody's stuck inside right now, I've been binge watching everything, and I think I've run out of everything to watch on Netflix. but I watched Nowhere Man, or November Man.
Yeah.
Oh my! What a great movie that was.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. Yeah, Pierce. We had a good time on that shoot. Real nice time. Another kind of crazy story is that both of our birthdays are May 16th, different years, and we started shooting the film on May 16th.
Oh wow, that's funny.
In Belgrade, Serbia, and we had. She's just a wonderful time together. Roger Donaldson, who was the director, Roger and I, I worked with Roger on 13 Days before the November Man, and that, for me, is one of the best films I've ever been a part of, as well as the November Man being the best experience I've ever had. It just was great.
Yeah. And now I know you're out. You're out in L.A., right, Bill?
Yeah.
And I just out of curiosity, how are you handling this pandemic? I mean, for a guy that's as busy as you are.
Yeah.
It's Red Skelton.
This is how I'm handling it. It's like this. You ever seen Clarabelle?
Yes. Oh my God.
There you go.
Oh my God.
Hey, I'm looking for work.
I mean, are you staying safe? Because I know, like, somebody as busy as you are, it's got to be rough just to have to like stop like that. No.
Well, I'll tell you. See this?
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you how your ankle's doing.
Well, that's 7 weeks already from surgery, 8 weeks, and
was that from bowling?
yeah, right. Well, it probably has something to do with it, but that's not my sliding foot, though. This tendon had to be reattached, and ligaments need to be repaired, and my ankle was very loose, he found, so that had to be shored up and whatever.
Oh,
so rehab for about 3 more weeks, I think, and 3 more weeks in this and then rehab, but then I'll work on the shoulders.
And then you'll be able to start mambo dancing again.
I never could, so maybe I can.
There you go. I got to ask you, I know this show, I wish it would have done a lot better. HMO. As a comedian, what was it like being in the same room with John Cleese?
My friend, that is the biggest regret, disappointment in my career, that did not, I cannot believe to this day that it didn't get picked up. But working with John was fabulous. I mean, for the short time I worked with him, a couple of days, but we had, we would have these table reads beforehand, and 1 second. We would have these table reads, and John wasn't there. He didn't show up for a lot, or the rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
Because he was at the Esalen Institute in Northern California. Do you know what that's all about?
No.
It's a mindfulness center that's run by the same man who wrote Golf in the Kingdom.
Okay. But
it's a very mindful, kind of a Zen place to go to think, and he's a very, very cool guy, John.
Right. I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I was playing Dr. Don, which is one of my favorite roles that I got a chance to humanize, but not take for a long run. But Dr. Don was this gambling, drinking, womanizing doctor in the hospital, and John Cleese was the administrator, and so I had some pretty good lines in our scene. And lo and behold, the first scene of the first day was me and John. Me coming out of an elevator, eyeing this babe that was in the elevator, walking, and then coming up to him, and he goes, "Dr. Don." And I go, "Yes. The nurses have been telling me that you've been telling this patient in 63 or whatever he said, that she has a nice rack."
Oh, boy.
I said, "I'm just trying to cheer her up."
Yeah, right.
She. So I start to answer him, and he starts to laugh. And we start to do the take again. And he laughs again. He goes, "Wait," he says, "How did you get the funniest role?" And that's so sweet.
Yeah, he's a legend.
It was just so sweet, and we had a grand time, it's unfortunate. There are a lot of good actors in that as well, including Charlene Woodard and Tim Dutton.
Oh yeah,
from England, wonderful actor.
Well, I got a little surprise for you. I'm going to show you something that I dug up, and you're going to get a big kick out of this. All right, this is vintage Bill Smitrovich. Here we go.
A once-in-a-lifetime play. But I've got an instant replay forever on my RCA convertible video recorder. It's really 2 VCRs in one. It records my TV favorites, and it converts to a portable home movie outfit. So I can record Moose's big plays, too. CA convertible. 2 VCRs are better than one.
No one gives you more VCR than RCA.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that in there. That was cool.
So I can get Moose's big plays too.
I love it. So, John, let me ask you. You're
2-1 Yankees.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Bottom of the fourth. Yeah.
Out of all the TV shows, which one were you most proud of, and which one did you have the most fun on?
Well, the most fun I had was on Crime Story.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The most gratifying work that I've ever done is Life Goes On.
Life Goes On, yeah.
For me, apart from all the troubles and troibles and foibles and all the other things that went on between me and Patty, I still am so proud of what the show accomplished in its reach out to not only families, not only kids with Down syndrome, but the siblings of children with Down syndrome. I can't tell you how many letters I received from children who were brothers and sisters of Down syndrome children, telling me they never knew that their sister or brother could do this.
Oh, wow. It wasn't even just an entertainment. It was a life lesson.
No, it was like, yeah, it was a lesson in social grace.
Right.
And how we deal with one another. And it wasn't just about the heart. It was very mindful show, and Chris was, 1 in 1,000.
And I think it taught a lot of people to be more accepting, especially if for people who are disadvantaged. I think people got a lot more respect for, people with disabilities like that. But
Right.
Fantastic writing. Out of all the TV shows, which one was the most challenging role?
Millennium,
right?
Yeah, I got off the show. I loved the pilot. Thought Millennium pilot was, I'll put that up there up against any pilot, spooky or otherwise. That was spooky. And it's a damn good pilot and a good movie. And David Nutter, the director, very good director. But I was told by Chris Carter that when we started the show, that the show was going to be a triad of stories. One was going to be the captain of the police department taking care of the policing and how it goes through the police department.
Right.
Profiling would be Lance, and the consult work, the therapy for the victims of these crimes would be another part of that triad.
Right.
And that was Megan Gallagher's role, her Lance's wife in the show. So as the show progressed, it just became more and more bloody. And bloody. I mean, just bring in another 50-gallon drum of blood and let's, more blood.
Right.
And it
was a little too much for you, huh?
Yeah, it was, and I had a meeting with Chris and I said, this isn't what I signed up for. And, we eventually understood. And he said, okay.
Yeah.
And they slit my throat and hung me in Frank's basement. I'm a professional.
There you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I asked for it.
Yeah. What do you now with the the pandemic? I know LA. I think they're starting to start shooting and doing production work. Do you got anything coming up that you were working on? Are you going to resume or?
Well, I'm got a few things that I'm hoping to start soon. I think things in Canada are starting sooner than things here in Los Angeles.
Right.
Have been, but Canada has their own protocols, and they're hiring more Canadian actors for those gigs now. I'm not sure if it goes the same way for us, but the protocols are out there. Shows have started up, and I've had some offers to do some things, but I can't work with my foot like this, so I have to wait 3 more weeks at least to really say I can commit to something. So
right.
I've been working on something of my own that I hope we get launched after the new year.
Well,
we're hoping. It's called the Write-In Network, and we're hoping it's going to draw the country a little closer together so we can have conversations about issues that are happening today.
Well, I think that's a fantastic idea, and once it comes to fruition, you let me know. We'll talk about it, and
Sure.
you have an open door anytime you want to come on. I would love to
Thanks,
do a
Rob.
part 2 with you, maybe towards the holidays.
That's good.
I just
Maybe I
want
have more to talk about.
Yeah, no, I just want you to know our show gets syndicated on American Forces Network, so a lot of our men and women overseas get to see this. And I can't
Hey.
tell you what a beloved character you've been in movies and TV, how they adored you. Once we put out the blast that you were coming on, they started quoting all these lines and stuff like that. And,
I just want to say to all you people out there in the Air Force, we're going to get the president's baseball glove back and play catch with this guy's balls.
Oh, that's so great. You know what? I got to end with this, Bill. One of my favorite lines, and everything you did was in Miami Vice when you were talking to Philip Michael Thomas. Cooper, he was a Jamaican guy. He's like, I got 400,000 in my shaving equipment, and you're just sitting here. Excuse me while I catch my breath. That was one of the greatest lines. You just said it like straight out, like I don't give a shit what you got in your shaving kit, But Bill, before we let you go, could you do a station ID for me real quick?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
You just
And all you ladies and gentlemen out there listening on the Armed Forces Radio, God bless you all, and I hope to see you back here in the holidays, and you get to spend with your family in some one way or the other. God bless you.
Yeah. So basically, what you're going to do is introduce yourself and say you're listening to Animal House Radio.
Okay. Hi, I'm Bill Smitrovich, and you're listening to Animal House Radio with CARLO, the wild thing, BELLARIO.
Look at that. One take. That's why Michael Mann hired this man. Bill, thanks a lot. Thanks for going down memory lane with us. You don't know how much these interviews right now, this is what my goal was, to ease the anxiety and just shoot the breeze, free-flowing conversation. And
I'll tell you what, the next time we do it, Carl, they sent me a bunch of these things, but we can maybe build something around this. You're Star Wars fans.
Oh, wow, absolutely.
Because I was Webb. I don't know if people.
I totally missed the bus on it, but yeah, that's cool.
You see Michael Webb in that 2-part. It's a 2-part Star Trek, and it's very prophetic about what was happening with those sanctuary cities. It takes place. It's the only time they went backward in time.
Oh, wow. Absolutely. And Bill, once again, thank you so much. I hope your ankle gets better and you get back out there, because I know we're all dying to see you. Like I said, let me know when anything comes up. We'll get it out there for you. You have an open door, and please stay safe.
Thank you. You too. And God bless everybody. Get over this thing. We're going to be better for it.
Absolutely.
New day coming on the other side of the horizon.
Thank you so much, Bill Smitrovich. And that's it for this evening. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to have Perry Gilpin, who played Roz Doyle on Frasier. So stay tuned for that. Bill, God bless, stay safe, and we'll see you all next time.
Vote.
Absolutely.
Take care, pal.